They doubted you. They saw you fall, they saw you struggle, and they assumed you would stay down forever. You can still hear their words, can't you? The whispers behind closed doors, the smug smiles as they watched you stumble. They thought your story was over. But let me tell you something they didn't understand. Your story was just beginning. You've walked through fire, through betrayal, heartbreak, and the kind of pain that carves itself into your soul. And yet here you are. You're still standing. Do you feel it? That pulse in your chest? That unshakable beat? That's your strength. It's been there all along, waiting for you to recognize it. Imagine them now. The ones who tried to break you. To them, you were just another target, another name on a list. She's weak, they thought. He'll never recover from this, they told themselves. They saw your struggles and assumed you were finished. They thought your past defined you, that your mistakes and failures were chains. You'd never escape. But let's be honest, they didn't just misunderstand you. They underestimated you. When they lied to you, when they betrayed your trust, they thought you'd crumble under the weight of it all. They saw your kindness as a weakness, your vulnerability as a flaw. They didn't realize that every betrayal, every heartbreak was fueling a transformation. Picture it. The moment you realized someone you trusted had turned against you. The sharp sting of betrayal, the ache in your chest. It felt like the ground was ripped from beneath your feet. They laughed behind your back, thinking you'd never find out. They reveled in your pain, certain it would destroy you. But instead of breaking, you did something they never expected. You absorbed the pain. You let it sink deep into your soul. Not to break you, but to forge you into something stronger. Do you remember the first time you decided enough was enough? The first time you looked in the mirror and saw not just a survivor, but a warrior? It wasn't easy, was it? There were nights you cried until you couldn't anymore. Days when the weight of it all felt unbearable. But every tear, every struggle was shaping you. You started to see through the lies, the manipulation. The people who once had power over you suddenly seemed smaller. And with every step forward, you felt it. The shift. You were no longer the person they could control. You were becoming something they feared, a person who couldn't be broken. Think back to that moment. The moment you realized your scars weren't weaknesses, but marks of survival. The moment you stopped hiding your pain and started wearing it as armor. You began to understand that your story wasn't one of defeat, but of resilience. Every scar was proof that you'd faced the storm and lived to tell the tale. And then it happened. The shift they never saw coming. They threw everything at you. Their words, their actions, their schemes. They were so sure of their victory. But something had changed. You stopped reacting the way they expected. You stopped letting their words cut you. Instead, you met their attacks with silence, with strength, with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. And they felt it, their power slipping away. Imagine their faces when they realized their tactics no longer worked. The confusion, the frustration. They started to see the cracks in their own armor. Every attack they launched at you only made you stronger, more determined. And then, for the first time, they felt fear. Not fear of your anger, but fear of your strength. They saw what you had become. Unstoppable. Hey, this is the moment they'll never forget. The moment you stood before them, unshaken, unbroken. You didn't just survive their attempts to tear you down. You thrived. You turned every insult, every betrayal, every ounce of pain into fuel. You transformed yourself into a force of nature. And now, as they look at you, they see the truth. You're no longer the person they once knew. You've become someone they can't control, someone they can't defeat. Picture it. The moment you walked away from the people who doubted you, their voices faded, their opinions no longer mattered. You were free. Free from their judgment, their manipulation. And in that freedom, you found your true power. So now, here you are, standing tall, stronger than ever. They thought they could break you, but you were never broken. They thought they could destroy you, but you've only just begun. Let the world see your scars. Let them see your strength. Because your story is a reminder that true power doesn't come from avoiding struggle. It comes from surviving it. You faced the darkness and emerged as the light. And now, the world will fear you once they see your true power. To extend the script further, I'll now delve deeper into each section by adding vivid descriptions, more emotional depth, and scenes that evoke a stronger connection to the audience's journey. Let's continue building on the foundation. Do you remember the weight you carried? Not just the physical burdens, but the emotional ones. The doubts that whispered in your ear late at night, the guilt that kept you awake, replaying every decision, every word, every failure. You carried all of it, day after day, feeling like a lone traveler in an endless desert. But here's the thing about deserts. They teach you endurance. They strip you down to your core, forcing you to confront what really matters. Every storm you faced has left a mark on you. At first, those marks felt like wounds, but over time, they became something else. They became symbols of your resilience. Let's talk about your enemies, the ones who thought they could break you. They didn't just doubt you. They thrived on your pain. They wanted to control you, to make you doubt yourself so deeply that you'd never rise again. They watched you struggle with glee. Every stumble was proof, in their eyes, that they were right about you. Every tear, every mistake, it was fuel for their fire. But what they didn't understand is this. The more they pushed you down, the more you learned to rise. Their laughter, their whispers, their betrayal, they weren't the end of your story. They were the beginning of your transformation. Think of that moment, when you realized someone close to you wasn't who you thought they were. The knife in your back wasn't physical, but it cut just as deep. You trusted them, you opened up to them, shared your dreams, your fears, and they used it against you. The realization hit you like a tidal wave, didn't it? The betrayal left you gasping for air, questioning everything. But instead of drowning, you learned to swim. They didn't see the moments when you began to rebuild yourself. Those quiet victories. Getting out of bed on the hardest days, taking one step forward when it felt impossible. They didn't see you standing in front of the mirror, wiping away tears, telling yourself not today, not anymore. Because you realized something powerful. The people who doubted you weren't fighting you. They were fighting themselves. Their insecurities, their fears. They were projecting it all onto you. And when you saw that, everything changed. Picture yourself in a quiet room, late at night. The world is still, and for the first time in a long time, you can hear your own thoughts. You start to piece it together. the patterns, the lessons, the truths hidden in the pain. You realize that the strength you've been searching for was inside you all along. It wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about proving yourself right. Do you remember the first time you stood up to them? Not with anger, not with desperation, but with quiet confidence. You didn't need to shout. You didn't need to explain. You simply let your actions speak for you. They tried to provoke you, to pull you back into the chaos. But you stood firm, unshaken. And in that moment, the power shifted. They realized they couldn't hurt you anymore. Their words, their actions, they no longer held weight. Imagine standing face to face with someone who once held power over you. They try their old tricks, the manipulation, the guilt, but this time it doesn't work. You look them in the eye and see the truth. They're not as strong as they seemed. They never were. And as you walk away, you feel it. A sense of freedom you haven't felt in years. Victory doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's quiet. It's the moment you realize you've outgrown the people who tried to hold you back. It's the moment you stop seeking validation from those who never deserved your attention. And as they watch you rise, they feel something they never expected. Regret. They regret underestimating you. They regret pushing you away, because now they see what you've become. Picture it, the last confrontation. Not a physical fight, but a battle of wills. They throw everything they have at you, their words, their lies, their schemes. And you stand there calm, unbothered, because you know the truth. Their power over you is gone. You walk away, leaving them in the ashes of their own making. Now, as you stand at the top of your mountain, take a moment to look back. Every struggle, every scar, it was worth it, because it brought you here. You've become the person they never thought you could be. So let the world fear you. Let them see your strength, your power, your resilience, because this is your story. And you, my friend, are unstoppable.